tonight. We have Miss Londa. We have Miss Londa on with the Sip and Talk. We are officially going live on Facebook with Miss Londa.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, Miss Londa. What we want to do tonight, I want to tell you thank you.
You're welcome. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. I want to tell you thank you for joining in and for us being able, as you say, to collaborate with one another.
Yes.
And I want us to touch on a few things.
Okay.
And we're going to share to one more page.
Yeah, I'm trying to share it right now as we speak.
So the way I have to share it, I have to hit copy the link. And then I have to go to my pages. So it is officially on my main page, and we are officially, look, I'm saying it, but it's okay. And so we're officially going live, Control V. Okay, we're officially live on Facebook. We're officially live streaming on Facebook. And we are officially going live right now from Letha's Real Talk. So I hope that the echo is not too bad.
I don't hear it. It's good. It sounds pretty good.
Okay, well, tonight, everyone, we are officially live with Miss Londa. She is the host of Sip and Talk. Miss Londa is a podcaster. She is a community activist. Miss Londa has so many great things going on. As I have read about Miss Londa, and I have followed some of Miss Londa's posts and some of her pages and some of her platforms, I noticed that Miss Londa has been out there for a minute networking. She actually has been bringing people together. And I want to take a moment right now, Miss Londa, just introduce yourself. Tell us more about Sip and Talk. Tell us more so about what it is that you gain from what you do.
All right. So hello, everyone. I'm Miss Londa, as she said, and I am the host of Sip and Talk with Miss Londa. I started podcasting in 2020. I actually started my podcast to start monetizing to basically fund my nonprofit, which is called Ladies Zines Incorporated, which is a nonprofit that is geared towards women and teen girls. But I also, podcasting is a passion for me. I really love, being able to connect with people, sharing different, opinions, thoughts, hearing people's stories. But my passion that I really want, where I really want to take it, is being that outlet for the communities that don't get the news footage, when things, happen with them. I want to be that outlet. So that is my passion.
Okay. So your nonprofit, tell us what pushed you to that. It's centered around women and teens. What was your motivation behind it?
Well, because I myself was a single mother. All of my kids are adults now, but I do have grandchildren. But I know the different services and everything that is needed, for single moms and everything. But also, I'm trying to prevent teen girls from running. You're not going to prevent them from running away, but having to face those situations that they can face when they run away, or even the girls who don't run away that just end up being sex trafficked. I also am geared towards when they age out of foster care, because when you age out of foster care, if you have some type of stability plan set up, then you
Mhm.
won't go back to similar or same situations. So that is my whole goal. I have a program that I'm working on called TAPS, and TAPS is Teens Aiming for Success. And this is a program that the girls would come through and they would be able to get education. So if they don't have a GED or diploma, they would be able to get life skills, budgeting, ethic. There's different incentives when they graduate the program. Each category that I speak on, they have to complete. But the incentive of the whole program is to be able to put them in an apartment, be able to pay their last month's rent, provide them with the household needs, furniture if needed, continue providing them with transportation. It's to keep the stability, you know what I mean, so that they don't end up in those unfortunate situations. That is, it's a lot of girls on the streets that end up in situations because they have no other choice, because they have nowhere else to go. So that I'm trying to do prevention pretty much.
Okay, okay. And we're gonna keep diving on a little bit deeper. So as we talk about the young ladies, the young girls, what what do you think that we can do as the generation before them or the generation before us? Is it something that you feel like may have been missed? Is it a lack of connection that may have been made? What is it that you think that may need to be done, not on their behalf, but what more could we do on the early stages
Are
to
you
try
saying
to
like
help
as
that?
in parenting?
Yes, ma'am, and parenting.
More communication, talking with your kids, even boys, not just girls, but more communication, talking with your kids, kind of getting to know them and understanding them. And when I say talk to them, and I'm not saying as a friend, but talk to them and let them be able to feel, like they can speak,
Okay.
you know what I mean? You get what I'm trying to say? Because a lot of times, like when we was growing up, it's just like they just told us and that was just that.
Say
You
it one more time, Miss Londa. Now we digging deep. Say it again.
Yeah,
Say
you
it
know
one
what I'm
more
saying?
time though.
It was like the way we was raised. It was like if we wanted to voice our opinion, then we were being disrespectful, when in reality we really weren't. We were just trying to kind of state how we feel. And I think that we kind of need to take some of that old school out of there. Not all of it, but some of it, because I think a lot of things could have been prevented, you know what I'm saying, when we was coming up, if we had that, you know what I'm saying, that if we would be able to feel free to communicate and say, well, okay, mom, I get where you're coming from, but this is how I feel. You get what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think if we have more of that,
You know what?
watching your kids more on
Before
the
you go to your next, because I want to say, but don't lose your thought. If you got to write it down, I'm gonna give you a minute to write down what you fixing to say. I don't want you to lose that thought, but I really want to kind of touch on what you said, because it amazes me how, when talking to a family member, a sibling or a cousin or a aunt or parent or whatever, as with our age, it's a little different, right? But then it's like, just hearing you say this, we haven't had this conversation before. And what stuck with me is the fact that we was told, and if we said something, it was almost deemed as being disrespectful. And for me, and I tell people, I don't have to look outside and look into other people's stuff, right?
Mhm.
But for me, what I gather from that, and then here you are doing something good though. You're not, you are a lady, you have standards. You have standards. Okay. So you're not sending out the message that we should just let whatever go. You're
Yeah,
saying, talk to them, but we need to listen to them, is what I'm gathering from that.
yes,
So let's say a child tells their parent something, and it's something that the parent is like, oh no, 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 we don't want, we're not going to discuss that, we're going to put it off to later, that's just not the way it's supposed to be, that's not the way I grew up, this just the way it's supposed to be. Kids may ask why, because we know, we've been told, because that's just what it is, and that's been what it's been the whole time. What message do we need to get out right now about communicating and allowing our children to talk to us?
We need to get the message out that we need to let some of those generational curses go, because our parents, although they did the best they could raising us, you know what I'm saying, and it's like it's a trait, you know what I'm saying, it goes on. So they were raised a certain way, so then they took it into raising their kids, and I'm guilty of it, you know what I'm saying, because my mom raised me, so I felt like, okay, this is how my mom raised me, this is the right way, so this is how I'm going to raise my kids. But everything that I taught my kids, or that my mom taught me, may not have been the right thing, and that doesn't, I don't want to discredit, I just want to make that clear, I'm not discrediting my mom's parenting or anybody else's parenting. There are things that we don't realize when we're, as parents, you know what I'm saying, we trying to do the best we can, and we think we're doing the right thing, but sometimes there's things that we just didn't realize when we was raising our kids. Like, for instance, with me, I'm guilty of, I loved my kids, but I didn't tell my kids that on a regular. It was like one of those things where I just kind of assumed they knew that I loved them, because I was providing for them, I was doing what I was supposed to do as a parent, but they actually want to hear it. And I didn't learn this until my kids were adults, and they tell me, you know, and hearing that, when you hear that from your child, it kind of hits a spot, because it's like, then you kind of feel bad, like, dang, like, you don't want to hear your kid say that, you never told us you loved us, because it's something that you always thought that they just knew, but they really, really, in reality, they want to hear it. They don't care about that you kept them with this, or that, they had these Christmases, and they want to hear you actually say it. And I think that that's something that, I mean, all my kids are adults now, but it's something that we gotta learn to do. But it's like, kind of like, I didn't hear it, but I didn't feel my mom didn't love me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was an assumption. I knew she loved me. Okay. But if I would have heard it then, when I raised my kids, I would have took it into looking at my kids and actually telling them I love you, or, you know what I'm saying?
Wow. Wow. That I'm just wallowing in that wow, because I tell people, we talk about these kids. It's a joke, but it's a reality, right? I say we talk about these kids, but we're their parents. And I say, for me, in my brain, when you're a teenager, whatever, I have kids, I ain't gonna do this, I ain't gonna do that. And then I became an adult who told myself what I was not gonna do. And you're right. There are plenty instances where I didn't want to listen. I don't want to hear, because it's not the culture that I grew up in, right? Mm-hmm. It's not is and in my brain at those moments, and it took some things for me as a parent. It took some things, it took a while, but I went through this season. It's almost like you was programmed to think that this is just the way it is, and that's all it's gonna be, until you start having children. And then you try to push that on your children, and then the children's like, whoa. And you're right, in your brain, in my brain, it was a form of rebellion, when I later see it was technically not rebellion. It's just the fact that sometimes we don't pause and listen to our children. So and I want to thank you for I know I interrupted what you were saying, but I do want to thank you for shedding light on that, because people need to hear that. We need to hear that. Those in our generation and older, we need to hear that. You know, we
Also,
don't need this watered down stuff about what we need to and not need. We don't need to keep putting a band-aid
yeah,
over.
that's another thing that needs to stop too. Like if your kids tell you something, don't just kind of brush it off like accept your truth. You know what I mean? You get what I'm trying to say? Like accept your truth. Don't just try to push it off like they coming to you wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Accept your truth because nobody's perfect. And I
Yeah.
think like once you accept your truth, then you can build a better bond rather than trying to make it seem or like gaslighting it. Let's just say that. Don't
Okay.
gaslight it. Don't gaslight what they're trying to tell you.
Mm. You look. For the ones who may not be watching now, they're gonna go back and watch it, honey. But you hitting some stuff that need to be touched. Do you hear me? Because these are deep, but let's be a little real. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Okay. We don't discuss enough of this. We don't have these conversations enough. And in my brain, until I heard a conversation the other night, I'm like, look, I'm like my mama's mama. I'm so nosy. People be talking, I just be like listening. In my brain, I thought it was just us. And I'm gonna be real. I thought it was just us sometimes as black people. And you hear some of these conversations and you watch TikTok, you watch YouTube, you scroll and you listen, and it's like, okay, get let me pull the race card out of it for a minute. This is a culture of the ages, though. And it's like now we're trying to repair something where we may have lost a connect. So if a parent, a father, or a mother may have lost a connection with a child, what would be your suggestion for that? Like for them, would you like what would be your suggestion? Let's say a parent comes to you and and they child may be in the program and they child may be doing really good. And like, you know what, Miss Londa, I lost our connections and at least I want to be better connected. What would your recommendation?
I would say try to figure out, sit down and try to talk with that child and try to figure out where the connection got lost. You know what I mean? That's the only other way is to communicate and try to figure out, okay, we're having this problem. We're not connected. We're not communicating with each other the way we should be. What is it? What is it that I can do? Let me know what areas you need me more in, or let me know what areas I'm lacking in. Once you can like try to like put yourself in a position where it's not like I'm the parent and you just need this, and try to kind of like look at yourself like maybe I'm not doing something right versus that you're just a parent and you're just right. I think that's how we lose connection a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Because as parents, it's like sometimes you just don't want to step in your truth. And you would rather just kind of be a bully. I see a lot of elders like older.
You must be talking. Look, you must be talking to my son, hon.
No, but okay, let me just tell you, one time I had an older lady on my show, and you see my nose ring.
Mm-hmm.
And she had mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's a scepter. And and she said, well, we'll talk about that later. And I said, well, now I'm 50 now. And she was like, and you 50 and foolish. Now, I could have got real disrespectful with her, but I didn't. But at the same time, I spoke my mind and let her know that's fine, but this is what I like. You know what I'm saying? And she carried on. Is like, you think you could check me? No, nobody has to check one another, as long as I'm not disrespecting you, but I'm just letting you know this is what I like. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes those elders can be bullies versus treat us like, like we humans, and don't talk down to us all the time. Like you don't have to, you know what I mean? You don't have to do that.
I interrupted your other thought, but I got so many questions. Look, I feel like I'm sitting on the couch right now. But whatever your other thought was, do you remember what it was before I interrupted you?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I'm
was
gonna let
just
you
gonna
do.
say the internet. It needs, when it comes to the internet, I don't have nothing against the kids having the tablets and and all that. But I think there needs to be more structure. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the things that is going on the internet and kids can be lured away from home. I think that let's not let the tablets raise them.
Mm,
That was my other thought.
wow. Um, I feel like you done put me on the couch. Look, I done jumped on the couch. You hear me? Because we want to bag up to this piercing thing. Let me bag up. I tell people, look, now I'm a hairstylist by trade. I came out the womb doing hair and running my mouth and talking too much too. But I tell people, my mama let me do whatever I want to do to my hair. I could do whatever I want to do to my. It said one thing, I couldn't get no Jerry curl when the Jerry curls were popular. She ain't let me get no. She ain't let me get no gold teeth either. If I could have got some gold, I'd have had a whole grill across my mouth. But she ain't let me. Like I'd have had my first name, my middle name, but she didn't. But that's the one thing that she did, along with other stuff. But I do want to acknowledge the fact though that she allowed me to do that,
Mhm.
right? And so, I've always been one to like, certain. We all like different things as we see, right?
Mhm.
So, when you mentioned the thing about the pierce, I started piercing my ears. Well, outside of the ears that I got, look, that little hole they put in your ear when you were 6 weeks old as a child.
Mhm.
I came home from high school one day. I look, you know how we used to do them homemade piercings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came home with my ears pierced, and my mama made me walk around with iodine and all this old kind of stuff. And it's just been something that I've always liked. And what I appreciate you saying is the fact that we should not be looking at the cover, passing judgment on anybody.
Yeah.
And I I don't want to offend people, but it's almost like we grew up, some of us, where the previous generation did a lot of, they had their way on how they thought everybody should be.
Yeah.
So what, and then that judgment gets passed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we become parents and we get a little lax on things, but we didn't get lax to allow our children to run over us. We got lax because there were a lot of things that we just didn't agree with.
Yeah.
Times were different, so we grew, like you said, we grew up in an era where that's just the way it is, and that's just what it is. So when I say with this generation, I run my little polls on people, and the younger people tell me they don't ever want to feel disrespected. But we grew up saying, demand respect, you earn respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the phrase. You remember that phrase, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the younger generation is saying, respect me and I'm going to respect you.
And I don't think they're wrong for that, because you can't expect you can you just imagine
Say it.
how that feels? You're 12 years old and you got somebody like really just totally in your face disrespecting you. Like sometimes parents don't know how to talk to kids. So when they're downing them, the put downs, the downs, you dumb motherfucker,
Mm-hmm.
imagine how that feels. And then now I'm in my adult life, and you think that it's supposed to carry on into my adult life because you're the elder and I'm supposed to still take it. No, now you're a bully. You're a bully. I really feel that a lot of our elders are bullies. They can say whatever they want, but we still have to give that respect. No, I didn't get into my adulthood for you to still be punking me. We're not doing this no more. And I'm not going to disrespect you in no type of way, but I'm going to let you know, like, No. And I don't think that kids are wrong for feeling like that.
Do you understand how needed this is?
Yeah, it's
This
very
is
needed.
like, this is like, we don't have these conversations. Why do you think we don't have, like, outside of privacy? Let's just get it real. You know, you are having in, you know, private with your friends, with your whatever. We don't publicly have this. What you're giving us right now, in my most humble opinion. We don't have these conversations. We talk about everything else. We talk about everything else. We talk about politics. We talk about this. We talk about that. We talk about race. We talk about religion. We talk about all of these things. We're not having these type of conversations. It do like what? Why do you think we don't have these in-depth conversations though?
Because as parents, a lot of times it's hard for us to face our truth. And I'm saying this because I was one of them parents, because, and it's not so much as that, it's like I said, when your kid tells you something, it kind of hits a spot. It makes you feel like you failed in the area. You know what I mean? But if you face your truth and work it out and get, you know what I'm saying? That a lot of us don't want to have those conversations because we don't want to face our truth.
Baby, you and oh my gosh, we got to do this again. Do you hear me? We don't. Okay, so let's just fast forward just a little bit. So we got our kids, and of course, you know, we don't want them to face our truth. Okay. Look, I'm one of the people, Miss Londa, that
And
you
that's
would
what I'm
probably,
saying. I'm one of those people.
but and me too, because I'm one of them people you be like, Letha, you need to just, you tripping. I have a friend girl that's got 6 kids. And she always used to make this statement. She say, one thing I don't do, and this is her quote, not my quote. Her quote is, I never judge how people raise their kids. I never judge that, because parenting, and I used to look at her and be like, and she was like, you'll understand one day.
Yeah.
You know, and it would be moments, and I wouldn't even have to say anything. It was things she would know, because she, you know, she would know my children, and she'll try to sit down and talk to me, and I'm like, no, that's not what I'm used to. You know, she was like, it's okay. I was like, it's not okay.
Yeah.
She was like, why don't you think it's okay? She was like, but no, you have to stop thinking and feeling like that. Like, it is okay. So when you tell parents, listen, parents, you can buy them all the stuff. You need to tell them you love them. You need to face your truth. What more insight could you give us though? Because I feel like we are the most judged age group. It is. And we came from some other folk too. We didn't just pop up on earth by ourselves.
No.
It was some other people that came before us. So we didn't just get to where we are. And I'm not, when I look at it though, you know, it was a lot of things I think I would have done. I know if I could see what's happening, I would have done things different. But it's like, I got to a point to where you just get tired of talking and critiquing other people, judging how other people live.
Well, see, you gotta understand too, you only know what you know, okay, unless you're willing to want to know different. So if my mom raised me and didn't feed me till 7 in the evening, then I might go into raising my kids thinking it's okay to not feed them till 7 in the evening. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Unless I just feel like, no, they need to have those 3 square meals a day at a certain time. Well, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? So when it comes to judging, people have to stop and think, maybe this is what they know. Maybe this is how they was raised, and this is just what they think is normal. when you grow up, just think about growing up from a little baby all the way up, and this is what you've been around, and this is what you've seen, and nobody stepped in and said, okay, this ain't the norm. Then it is the norm because that's all you know.
Hold on, you need to say that again. Now that right there, you need to say that, make that statement one more time.
When you grow up a certain way, you know what I'm saying? Even though it may not be the normal to other people, but if you're growing up and this is all you see and nobody stepping in and saying, this is not norm, this is not the norm, it is the norm to you because that's all you know.
And I think that's part of a lot of the passive judgment, because we only know what we know and what we used to. And I get on my spells, I read a little bit, I kind of bag off a little bit, then I read a little bit, and I bag off. There's a saying that says, there's nothing new under the sun. Babe, I read some stuff the other day. It ain't nothing new under this sun. Mm-hmm. It just may be stuff we weren't taught.
Yeah.
That was going on. But the phrase is truly real. And so my fear for this generation and us also is three things that's bothering me. More than three, but I want to pick your brain about three things.
Okay.
The teenage suicide rate. I want you to elaborate on that. What your thoughts, or what could be, which I feel like you hit a lot on it, but I still want to, oh my God, I don't think you understand how you really helping me and whoever else right now. Okay, the issue with a lot of females, moms, and not just single moms, wives, caregivers, aunts, whoever. The issue with the mental stuff, and then these men who are sometimes disregarded, and they have been there the whole time. If and I know your time is important. I got as much time tonight as you got, but I know your time important.
No, I got it.
Okay, so if you could elaborate on those things.
So when it comes to the teen suicide, I don't know what could be, it depends on what so if it's, I'm gonna just say this, if it's a person that's committing suicide because of maybe low self-esteem, that could come from not hearing or being taught you are somebody, you are beautiful, you can do it. We gotta learn to big our kids up, you know what I'm saying? And so teaching them to have tough skin and being able to deal with judgment. Okay. The bullying. I mean, I taught my kids, I'm finna go blank right now. They wasn't being bullied. So that was a no-go. We not doing this. Somebody mess with you, you let me know. We're gonna handle it. We're gonna handle it the correct way first. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go holler at that principal. And then if it continues on, then you got mine, go ahead to do what you got to do. And then we'll deal with that. I mean, and then when it comes to the men, I do have, when it comes to a lot of the men fathering, is that what you were trying to touch on? Uh-huh. I do have a space in my heart because I do see a lot of men that want to be there for their children. And a lot of women don't let them. I mean, let's be real. Yeah, we all wanted that fantasy. You have a baby by a man, you want that happy family. We a family, we in a house, we gonna eat dinner together, we gonna go to the park together. Sometimes it just doesn't go as planned. But if you're not thinking about just yourself, and women are selfish when they do this because they're only thinking about their self. If you're thinking about the child, yes, it hurts. Yes, maybe you wanted that relationship, but you got to realize it just didn't work. You move on, but don't keep the child, because that's who's hurting. You may think you're hurting that man, but you're hurting the child more. You see what I'm saying? And also, I'm going to go a little step further with it. And I feel like the system plays a little part in it because we carry the child, true enough. But I don't feel like that should really matter. I feel like if he's the father, we should automatically have those equal, you know what I'm saying? It's automatically the mom is full soul caregiver. Yeah. There's two parents here. That's been established. So then that should be equal. He shouldn't have, I don't feel like men should ever have to go and fight for the rights of their children or visitation. It should automatically be there. And I think women need to be held accountable, especially if they didn't took this man to court and they got him paying child support, and then the system is making them pay child support, but you're not standing up making this woman let this man be in his child's life, but you taking his money. Mm-hmm. So that's how I feel about that. Because not every man is a deadbeat. Not every man is a deadbeat. And stop making about, if you can't buy my baby Jordans, you can't see your baby. Because sometimes, like I said, kids, they want to spend time. They want you to spend time with them. They want to hear that you love them. So if he ain't got no money, if he ain't got no job, don't drag him. If he's saying he want to come get his son, let him. Okay. You know what I mean? Don't drag him because he ain't got a job and feel like because he don't have a job, he should be punished and not have a relationship with his child. He might not have a job, but he could be good in other areas as a parent. So that's how I feel about that.
So another thing, and it's just like when I tell you this, we need this because we don't have these conversations publicly enough. No. Mm-hmm. You see everything in the news. We talk about a lot of stuff everywhere else. We don't have these type conversations enough. With your nonprofit and you're coming in contact. I'm gonna bag up. I was in a meeting for my job a few weeks ago, and a question rose about why are the younger generations not applying? And I'm saying to myself, everybody in this mug 35 and older. You asking the wrong people. You gotta be, don't you need to be talking to them am I right or am I wrong? Correct me if I can't answer for my daughter and my son. You get what I'm saying? Right. I ain't say nothing. But I'm saying, you asking the wrong people though. I can't answer for those younger people, but I do know the key one thing for them is about they need that direct respect, and if they get that direct respect, they're going to give you that direct respect back. Now I know this.
Treat them like humans.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You like to be treated like you're human. You like to be talked to like you're human, right? Mm-hmm. They do too. Just because they're a kid don't mean that you don't have to give them that. I don't get that. I never got that concept. And I always said, when I get grown, I'm not tolerating. I always had that thought in the back of my mind, like when I get grown, I'm not tolerating that. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to cuss them out or do none of that, but I'm going to let you know how I feel. Because you can't just, you can't, if you want to talk to somebody, you want somebody to listen to you, then talk to them. Don't down them. Don't put them down. Who wants to be put down? You don't like being put down. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing. That's why a lot of these generations don't listen. Because
say it one more time. Can you elaborate on that? Elaborate on what, because people need to hear this. Okay. Sometimes what I've learned about people, I may not hear the message right here. But wow, Miss London done confirmed it. So I might need to stop, pause, and pay attention. So can you please elaborate on that for a minute? Or two or three or four.
Nobody wants, kids don't like to feel like you're judging them or coming at them in a way like you're putting them down. They want you to talk to them. And another thing, stop sugarcoating. I really feel it's okay to give it to them raw. Don't sugarcoat it. if you gonna tell your kid, you're 13, you shouldn't be smoking weed, then you need to let them know why. You need to let them know all the reasons why. Don't say just because you're not grown, because then that's just really gonna make them even more curious. Tell them because it's not good. It's not a thing that you should be focused on right now. Also, if you out here doing it, you need to pay attention who you smoking with. Don't smoke nothing already rolled, because it could be laced. Because they're gonna, even if you telling them not to do it, they probably gonna still go do it anyway. So you need to let them know. I think that's another mistake is sugarcoating too, is not giving the raw. I
Not
think it's
giving the
okay to
details.
give kids the raw.
Not giving the wow. Oh my gosh. So with your nonprofit and the teen slash young adults, you youth slash young adults you come in contact with. I know you can't call names or anything, but like what would be a few of the major concerns from their side? What would be a few of their major issues, their dilemmas?
So I'm still getting my program in order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the things that I'm focusing on are things that I saw as I was growing up.
As you was growing up.
Yeah. And the things that I see now, that sex trafficking is at an all-time high. And they mainly get runaways. They get and then it's like people put this notion out that sex traffickers is only in a van riding around in a white van. That's not true. It's your daughter's friend's house, whose houses they going to, uncles and brothers and cousins and even aunties and mamas is out here doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? This is why I say you got to let your kids know. You can't sugarcoat. If you say, see, I never let my kids go to anybody's house. I welcomed all their friends to my house though.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I probably should have just let them know, like, because things go on in people's houses. Sometimes it's not safe. I don't want you to be somewhere something might happen to you. I don't know if something happened to you, you come up unalive, I'm probably not gonna get the full story. You know what I'm saying? So you just, you don't want to shelter them, but you want to let them know.
So let me ask you this. So these and it is a concern of mine, as well as I think most people. So with the younger generation, what a generation under us, and you hit on the fact that they don't want to feel bullied, talked down to any kind of way. What is your message for us and those older people to just, what would be your message for us for that?
Treat them like they human. I'm not saying be their friend. I'm saying balancing it. Make
So
them
I do something you don't like. I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not causing nobody no problems, but I feel, what is your message to those who may make the younger ones in the families feel like they're not good enough or they're always judging them? What would be that message for those older people? Because we do have kids in families who feel like, family may look down on them. Family always got something to say. Family always talking about people.
They feel like the black sheep.
The black sheep.
We did this topic one time on my show. It was actually titled Being the Black Sheep.
Okay.
Our end conclusion was being the black sheep is not a bad thing. You want to know why? Because there's something different and unique about you. Maybe people don't understand. Maybe they don't even know why they don't like it, but it's not a bad thing.
Baby, you don't have me think ain't nothing wrong with being a black sheep.
It's not. It really isn't. Because when you like the black sheep of your family and you think about just kind of sit and think about if you was the black sheep of your family, all them times that you was put down or things was said about you or whatever, was it really any different than anybody else in the family?
If
Probably
not
not.
worse, or
So
theirs
it
was
was
probably
something about you, which
right.
made you stand out, which makes you unique.
One young lady I know, she said something in her blog, her quote, that "Now when I tell you this stick with me, if you don't want their life, mean you better look at them. Don't take their advice." And what I'm learning is that it's important to get out of your own way. And I think that in my brain, with and I still go back to us with as a generation of parents. Okay, I go back to that. I go back to that for a reason, because these are our children slash grandkids that whatever. And it's like I'm learning to just truly pay attention and get out of my way, right? Get out of that, get out of that old thinking way, get out of that what's been told to me thinking way, because I understand that just because this is what I was told to do and how to think, that may not need to be how I need to be thinking and operate.
Yeah.
Right. So with the tradition, the tradition of raising for what you would have known it to be versus now, outside of not listening to your children and allowing them to have a voice without making them feel that they were being disrespectful, what else would you, what other advice? Because we're the ones who need the advice. It's us and those who came before us, right?
Mm-hmm. I
find myself sometimes, I made a statement over and over again. I say, y'all talk about these young folks. And then I saw an episode of Soul Train, an old episode. I don't want to hear nothing about nobody walking around naked no more. When I saw that episode of Soul Train, and this stuff was aired on TV. So what message though? Because it's like we're in the middle. We're really when they talk about bridging the gap between young and old, really it's us. We're the ones stuck in the middle. We're trying to figure out, how do we keep holding on to ours while still letting the older ones feel like it's okay? Like, what is your message in that?
To our older ones? So you mean
Yes.
over? I gotta be honest. I would just have to say that we just have to start making a change with our children, because our older ones, the ones that's over us, they are so stuck in their ways and so
Baby, wait a minute, say that one more time. What they stuck in?
They stuck in their ways and so conditioned to being how they are. I'm be honest, unless they choose to want to see a difference, it's not happening. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. I used to try to put together a thing for the 4th of July every year, try to bring all the family together. The ones my age, it was hard to pull all of us together. You want to know why? Because of our parents. When they was, our age and whatever went on, the feud and whatever took place, then that caused that division. And by our parents or, our elders still being stuck on feeling how they feel, then it's hard for us, our generation, to come together and do things together, because everybody's going to follow how they was raised. So if my mom raised me to feel like my aunt and her kids was less than, you know what I'm saying? That it sometimes it sticks unless you choose to see different. That's where a lot of this stuff comes from. I'm just being honest.
But it's what we need. Because we don't have these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
These conversations are not had. Why do you think we don't talk about this stuff enough?
Again, not wanting to face our truth. Not wanting to self-reflect is the word. Not wanting to self-reflect. Until you're willing to self-reflect, it's never gonna change. If you can't be willing to say, yeah, I probably was wrong, or yeah, I could have did this different, it's not gonna change because you want to keep gaslighting.
Listen, I could go on and on and on. Let's dig a little deep because you mentioned you mentioned about us, like we're the ones, we're in the middle, right? And some of us trying to hold on to certain ways, and some of us trying to just bring each other together. So in in now in today's time, for where you see it and from where you sit and from where you are, for what you do, from like your children, your grandchildren, to the people you come in contact with, if it's something that the older generation could do to truly connect with the younger generation without us being in the middle, what would it be?
If it's something that the older generation could do to connect with our kids without us being
without us being in the middle, without us trying to be in the middle, to directly connect with them, what would it be?
I would say connecting with them, because like I said earlier, I don't want to X out everything from back then, because I do still be feeling like some of that needs to be today with some of these younger kids, but in a different way. You know what I mean? Maybe less judgmental. Don't talk down.
You know what? And I think that's my biggest thing is that word, that judgment word. What causes, like, when you think about it, why do you think people pass so much judgment
because
on
a lot
what
of
people
times
do, how they raise their kids, and how they live, or what they do, when it's not causing no direct impact on them, when it's not affecting them? Why do we do that?
To cover up their backyard secrets. Because if you think about it, you ever seen somebody sit there and just really just drag somebody about how they raising their kids and what they ain't doing, and then they think because they ain't putting their business out there, but once it gets out there, it's like, and you was the main one that was talking. That's one of the reasons.
Baby.
It's just like when a bully gets off bullying somebody else because that makes them feel big. And you get people who tend to judge other people that be having the same stuff going on, but then it's always that, but my situation. No, it's the same situation regardless, period.
I think that's what we miss. I think for me, the word judgment, I think we do too much of that.
We do.
We do too much, and then we give it to these kids. I was sharing with a lady one day, it was some months ago. We was just talking. We had a situation here. I don't even want to talk about it. I ain't gonna get in detail, but it's a situation that happened with a teenager. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, bullying don't start at school. Bullying start in your family.
Yeah.
Judging people, critiquing people, making them, making them feel like the black sheep, or they're not good enough, or they don't add up. That stuff start way before they get to the school.
Yeah.
And we always want, most of us want to link it to, it's at school. No, most of the bullying starts within families of people. And then you see these kids wanting to please people, and they still trying to find themselves or discover themselves. Then some of them get to a point to where they don't add up enough. And I've gotten to the point, this stuff don't start in no school.
No, it a lot of it
Because
does.
we got bullied. Let's just be a little real. Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's always like, judgment has always been a pet peeve for me. Like, I can't stand it. And judgment ain't only just people judging how people raise their kids. Judgment it comes in a lot of different forms. Like, say for instance, you could walk in a room right now, you could be shitty sharp from head to toe. Instead of me looking at you saying, okay, I see how she like to get down. Okay, she like to get it, No, the first thing gonna come to my mind is she thinks she the shit. She thinks she all that. Why, if somebody dresses nice, do they have to feel like they come on? Like, I'm the only girl. I had two brothers. I was the only girl. My mom kept me dressed. She kept my hair did. This is how I was raised. This is, I'm a little lady.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I went into my adult life. Mm-hmm. But so now you're going to tell me because I like nice things and like to dress that I think I'm better than you? That's ignorant. Mm-hmm. It's gotten to a point now where you can't even feel like you want to just mention something that, say I've got a new car. Mm-hmm. I'm at a point like now where I don't even feel like I can mention it because people think I'm bragging. You don't know what it took for me to get that car. You don't know that I might have been walking to and from work for a whole year before I was able to get that car. Yeah, I'm proud of my damn accomplishment, but I can't be proud because now you think I think I'm better than you. That the judgment, I don't know. People just, I don't know. I mean, it's not really nothing that we could do about it. You just got to learn how to deal with it. Like, brush it off.
Baby, when I tell you, you done touched on some stuff that this was needed. And I don't think we get enough of it. Mm-mm. We don't publicly get this, we don't publicly get to say it. We get to say it, but we want to shoo around. We want to water it down. And I think for anyone that watches or who will come back and watch, that is something that we really need to take into consideration. And not just take into consideration, I think it's more important that we need to listen to what you're saying. And we don't just need to hear you. We need to follow instructions accordingly, because you have literally given us an outline. No, regardless. I tell people, it don't matter why. I don't have to question your whys. I just need to sometimes trust the process. Because why don't change nothing anyway? That's my most humble opinion. Why doesn't change anything? But if I want a different result and I want something better, instead of focusing on why not trust her process? Why not listen to what Ms. Londa is sitting here saying and just implement what it is that she's here telling us to implement, and just trust that process first and see how they go. But and then if I'm getting a positive result, why not encourage other people to do the same thing? Because when I tell you I'm concerned about kids, I'm concerned about families. I'm just concerned about so much, and it's like we got to do something better. Yeah, it shouldn't keep going like this.
Also, too, like you said, listen, but you also, as the person giving this advice, you also want to make sure that you are telling your truth too. And I don't mean you got to tell your business, but you also want to tell your truth too. You don't want to sit here and give advice like you ain't never been guilty of none of these things. Because I know I have.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna sit here and act like I'm innocent or perfect, because I'm a long ways from it.
Right.
So
as well as most of us.
yeah. So you are giving advice, but standing your truth too. Let it be known. I was guilty of that. Hell, sometimes I'm still guilty of that.
Right.
Don't make nobody feel like the advice you giving them, like you just perfect and you ain't never did this, what you telling them. Don't do that.
Right.
Because to be honest, I don't think you could give the advice if you ain't even went through it. To be honest, I'm gonna just be real.
Say that again.
You know what I'm saying? If you ain't never experienced it, I don't really think you could give that advice.
Mm-hmm. Which people tend to want to do.
Yeah.
They want to talk about stuff they haven't been through. They want to talk on it. They want to critique it. They want to judge it. But
If you ain't never been a parent, give your advice in the form of saying maybe this may work, but don't give your advice like you know, because you don't. You until you have stepped in the shoes of being a parent, do not critique another parent. Do not do that. You can't.
mm-hmm.
You don't know what they've experienced, what they went through. You don't know what it is to like to be a parent. You don't know.
Honey, listen, you have really this hit so personal to me on so many different levels with my kids, my nieces, my nephews, younger children in my family. When I tell you I'm like beyond full and a little bit emotional right now because it is so much needed. It is truly needed. And to hear someone just say it, and one thing I know about people, I've always been a person, like you say, you can't come in, you shouldn't be giving advice on stuff you haven't been through. My thing is people tend to listen to people they can relate to
Yeah.
and not, that they don't attack them. And um, I'm baby, I'm this message, this right here going out on some, it's going out on email, it's going out on text messages, it's just going out because people really need to hear
You want to know
this.
something else that I think
Mm-hmm.
we as women need to touch on too is with our men. The reason why our men, a lot of our men are the way they are, like as far as emotions and go through depression, is because when they was being raised, they was always being, shut up, man up, nigga. What you crying for? Little punk. They was taught that it was not okay to show emotion. They fall and scrape their knee and they cry. They was being told that they was wrong. Shut up. I'm gonna whoop your. That gotta stop too.
Yeah.
Because now they don't know how to communicate and express themselves because they feel like they're less than a man. A man is never supposed. They human.
Baby, you when I tell you, Miss Londa, like you done put some people on the couch, baby. And you ain't just put us on the couch. You brought awareness that I know I'm listening. I'm listening. And it was some conviction in this also. It was some deep, heavily conviction also. Um, we got to get back on and do some more. We got to. We just got to figure it out. We got to because this right here, I don't think we can get too much of this. I don't think we can get too much of what you're sitting here, the knowledge and the education and the insight that you have given right now in this moment. I don't think we can get too much of it. I don't. If it was a final message to anybody tonight, what would it be?
Basically, it would be to communicate more, stand in your truth, and self-reflect. Because if you don't self-reflect, then you can't really give it to nobody else.
Mhm. Okay. You all heard it here from Miss Londa of Sip and Talk. I mean, Miss Londa has really She brought us in right this year because it's something that we really need. And I want to encourage you all to go follow her and share this video